wish you didn't have to deal with?
Man, that's pretty easy for me, man. Parents. To be honest with you, man, parents. I think when I was coming up, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, the involvement that the parents will have these days, but I think they just feel more sense of entitlement now and just kind of allowing the kid to be developed through the training staff or the coaching staff. I think I don't know what happened, what took place to kind of allow these parents to feel just more entitled. Well, we are dealing with their kid for sure. Yeah, I guess that's what it is, man. That some of the monetary things that might be offered under the table or what they're seeing, the expectations of them believing that the kid might be the next, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. But for me personally, I think parents are making it a little bit more tougher to develop the kids where they need to be than they used to be.
For me, it's honesty in terms of when you take a young group into a tournament and you're expecting to play in a certain age group, and all of a sudden you get down. I coach younger kids, so it's 9 and under, and I get down to playing 12 and 13. That's a bit humbling. So that's first and foremost in my mind, because I've dealt with that one, and it's parents as well. Yeah. Everybody thinks their kids should play more, or they're going to be the next this, that, or the other. Those are the two that I've certainly run into.
If I can second what Alex said, it's a lot of times the parents will burn bridges and make it worse for their own kid.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I mean? A lot of times the parents just make it more difficult for their kids to develop.
Absolutely.
I mean, they bring drama to the team and so much confusion. So I would say definitely the parents are the issue. If they would step away and allow their kid to develop, I think that would be beneficial for their child. Because who wants to put a kid on a team that's going to be a problem, right?
Correct. No, I agree, for sure.
And it's usually not the kid. It's just not you guys are saying the parent. I actually had to tell a parent, I don't know a situation where you go into it telling the coach that he's the problem, and that helps your kid.
Right.
Matter of fact, that most cases it goes the other way.
I've heard
Experience. I do. I have parents meeting, and I'm not really personally talking about my group. Let's get that on camera. I got some wonderful group of kid parents, by the way. They're very well. But it's more so observing outside. You might have one or two. We don't live in a perfect world, so you might have one or two that just might cause that cancerous throughout and cause the issue throughout the whole deal. But I personally try to continue to have those parent meetings, talk with them, be open with them, and then for me, I always try to tell parents, hey, if you're in a situation that you don't like, and the kid is not developing the way that you're looking to develop, training is not getting what you did, then either go do it yourself, or just remove them out of the situation and find a situation that works better for yourself. That way it kind of eliminates, you create problems, and you might be the only parent that actually really has that issue, within the coaching that's going on. And I think that kind of probably helps within high school too as well.
Yeah, I don't have it much on the high school level, but I have over the years really come up with a system to hold my parents accountable. So at our parent meeting, I have 10 bullet points. That's their code of conduct and how I expect them to act.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. We'll discuss it. Once they agree to it, sign it, they understand what's expected of them. And then last year, I did something to kind of take it further, where I gave them 3 index cards, and they had to write on each side of the card. And they had to write one, like, what was your expectations for your son this year? And they wrote 3 things down. What are your expectations if they don't meet those? What are you looking to get outside of basketball? What are you looking to get from him? How do you want the environment to be? So all these things that are really holding them accountable, really helping them buy into the culture of the program. And it really works. I very rarely have parent issues.
Really?
So next question. How important is the mental approach to the game?
You lose the edge if you're not mentally prepared, because you may be going against somebody who's just as good as you, a little bit better. But if your mental is better than his, you can make the playing level equal, or you can beat him or the team or whatever.
And that's one thing about Alex's team. my son played with his team for a little while. His kids are mentally prepared. They've been in the fire for a long time.
Absolutely, right.
So there's nothing they haven't seen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
True.
Which gives you an edge. You know. Plus they've been playing together forever. But
Yeah.
but the
We talked about that.
the
Yeah.
coaching and being mentally prepared for the game. I've seen so many teams. They have talent,
Correct.
but you put them in that fire, they fold.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
I think it's everything, and it's sports across the board. It all starts mentally. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. It doesn't matter, what a kid can do. If he's not mentally prepared coming into a practice, forget a game,
Right.
just
Right.
practice.
Right.
I mean, I don't know as a coach, if you show up and that kid shows up and you know that he's not mentally tuned in, how much are you going to put up with before you say, hey, have a seat, and we're going to move on without you today. But I think the mental approach to everything in every sport is 90-95% of it.
Absolutely,
Talent is
for sure.
the rest.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, within any sport, whether it be football, baseball,
Golf,
basketball,
anything.
it's across the board. And I try to emphasize that to my group all the time, man. You want to be able to step on that court and win the mental.
And it's not when you first walk in or
No,
the
it's
game
not.
starts. It is 4 quarters,
Yes, indeed.
every second
Yes,
of a
indeed.
game.
Yes,
And when
indeed.
you can train kids or train players to think that way, that for whatever, 48 minutes, we're just going to lock in.
Right.
You're well ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. For sure.
And that's, especially for you being a quarterback, you have to be tuned. You have to be locked in.
All the outside stuff, it's tunnel vision from the time that the ball's kicked off. I
Because-
don't listen to what's going on up there. I rarely listen to what's going on here. You don't get too high when you throw an interception, and you don't get too high when you throw a touchdown. And it's a turnover in a basketball game or a breakaway slam dunk or something. You have to approach it the same way as, it's just part of the game, because once you allow yourself to go there, you lose it a little.
You lose it.
And it's hard as the game's going on to reel it back in and get right back where you were.
Right.
Did you play the game the night before?
Oh, absolutely.
That's one thing I think just
Dreamed
tell
it
my
too.
kids to try to do that.
Played it, dreamed it, woke up, did it again, and
Executed.
oh yeah, seeing yourself have
This
success is
generation
big.
can. They don't have.
Okay. What type of player impresses you the most? And what should the kids work on to give them the best chance to play for your teams?
Wow. I know. I want that kid with the high motor. He doesn't have to be the most skilled player.
Yeah.
I want that motor. I want him to go out and give me everything, because I share with them all. Hey, I'd rather have to turn you down than turn you up.
Absolutely.
I'd rather turn you down. But if I can get the effort out of you, if you're that guy that you may not be the most skilled, but if I can get the loose ball, if I can get the deflection, that means a lot. And I always tell them as well, I want that kid from shoulders up. You may not have the most athleticism or whatever, but if you can think that game, that's that one that I want. I want
Go
that.
back to the mental toughness of it. A guy who has good work ethic, a guy who does have a high motor when he steps out onto the court, whether he's practicing or not. The ones who go out there and practice hard and work to get better, you know that easily can translate over to the game.
Right.
So I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
Gotta have him.
Gotta have that guy who goes out there
He's the glue guy.
Yeah, for
he's,
sure.
he's the glue guy.
He's mentally tough.
I walk in a gym, or if I'm watching kids play, I want the kid that has just got some grit.
Yeah, tough.
Just the tough. I'm gonna play defense. I'm gonna rebound. That kid attracts me more so than the between the legs, behind the back.
Sure.
The guy that has all the flair. Because I know he's gonna take over at some point.
At some point,
You're gonna
right,
frustrate
some
him, and then what does he do? But his game is made on defense. And that's how I coach my teams. It's defense, rebounding, and share the
Absolutely.
basketball.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that. So
I
that's
want-
the kid I want.
I'm attracted to, this is not politically correct, but I want the killer. You know what I mean? I want the kid that's, I'm gonna beat you,
Will
and then I'm gonna
myself
step on you
Right.
and beat you. And like so a lot of professional athletes, B will attest to this. They're killers. The best Kobe Bryant, killer.
Yes.
Michael Jordan,
Yes.
killer. Kareem, Hakeem Olajuwon, killer. All those guys. So
I want the kid that don't like anyone.
Yeah.
That's the kid that I like. The kid that doesn't have any friends, that wants to kill everybody. That's the kid I want. And then I want to instill more killer in him. I want the kid that hates everybody on the court. That's who I want.
Everybody, teammates and all.
That's the one I like.
Okay, Coach Andre, do you incorporate any of your football experience into your basketball coaching?
Oh yeah, I when I'm coaching kids, I'm always using analogies of different scenarios in a football game that I've gone through or experienced, turnovers and things of that. I'm always talking about how that affects a game, how you interact with your teammates on the floor. I'm always paralleling both, and they'll tell me, you see them looking sideways at me like, wait a minute, he's mixing both sports, but they kind of have a lot of parallels where they go back and forth with one another. So absolutely.
If you run the 42 dive, the 42 dive, just listen. If you follow me, listen, pay attention.
This one's for Coach Jamie. Coach Jamie, what style coach are you?
What style coach am I? Well, I would say I'm a defensive coach. We drill defense every practice. I feel like you may not be hot for every game, but your defense is always on. You could always play defense. So, I make sure that I like to put pressure on the guards for the opposing team to wear them down, to make things easier for us to slow the game down. So defense for me is the most important thing. Definitely.
Okay, Coach Alex, I'm going to pose the same question to you. What style coach are you?
Oh man, defense as well. But I got to piggyback off of B. I want to be a killer. I really like to take the confidence of teams. So it goes, if you go out there early, if you go out there and set the tone from a defensive standpoint and really just tend to take the confidence away from that opposing team, I love it. I love it.
Right. Two more steps.
Step up.
Yeah.
Come with them.
So I look for a player that's tall, run, and can jump, to shoot. All that other stuff. Tall, run, jump, and shoot. That's all I need.
That's all you
I
need.
can do
You're good
other
to go.
stuff.
You want that guy.
Yeah, and preferably more than one of those dudes.
So the next question is a general question. What would you guys say you like the most about coaching, and what do you like the least about coaching?
Each kid is different.
It's different. Yes. No
Greg
doubt.
Buckner taught me this. I told him, I said, well, this kid, I got to treat all these kids the same.
No.
He said, are you crazy? He said, each kid has to be treated differently.
Absolutely.
And I learned that, and that's important. You got to learn how to deal with these.
Jimmy Johnson said that when he was coaching the Dallas Cowboys. There goes that parallel again about football and basketball. Every kid is different, and so you treat them different. He's going to treat Troy, Emmett, and Mike different than he treated James Dixon. James Dixon walks in and he's late for a meeting. You get out of here. Troy and Emmett and Mike walk in. It's like, hey, don't let it happen again. And that's just how it is. And parents don't. That's where you get into that parent thing. Is when they see it, if you can hide it, that's the best thing to do.
Hey,
If
Dre,
you allow it to be seen, then now you got a problem.
Hey, Dre, I had that issue, man, and and some of my parents knew it. But that kid, to me, he was a special kid. And what I
He can't abuse it, though.
No, he wouldn't abuse it. Maybe I abused it. And I knew I needed him to win in order to win it, because he was that guy that was going to put me over the hump. But he never abused it. So what I did, I would tell him, hey, man, get the ball and take me home. Hey, let's go get this win. And then he would, but I wouldn't let I didn't have the trust in the other guys like that. They were all right, don't get me wrong, but he was that dude, and like you say, they all want to play the same amount of minutes. And it's funny because we look at it today and we laugh about it. I would be sitting on the bench and I look at him and he'd look at me and he's coming down the court and he's like, that means don't take me out this game.